Hello everyone, and welcome to HSTA 391, Capitalism in Modern America from Emancipation to the Present. My name is Pat O'Connor, and I'll be your instructor this semester. I'm excited about this course because it will provide an opportunity for all of us to think historically and discuss some of the most pressing issues of our time. Our generation has been and will be defined by its relationship to American capitalism. We live in a moment of mounting student loan, credit card, and mortgage debts. We're all deeply connected to global consumer culture. We've come of age in a time of economic crisis and dramatic wealth inequality. And our politics, no matter our own personal opinions about any given issue, are unquestionably based on issues related to capitalism, things such as workers' welfare, environmental protection and climate change, and the influence of organized business interests in local, state, and national politics. Although I often hear politicians or the media portray these issues as novelties, as historians, we have the luxury of recognizing that all of these issues have been relevant throughout modern American history. And even though it isn't the subject of this course, these issues were relevant even before the Civil War, going all the way back to the colonial period. Recognizing this continuity is important because it helps us understand what actually has changed and begin to ask why. In the past 10 years or so, historians have given these issues renewed attention. Their work has launched a new history of capitalism that attempts to historicize many of our contemporary dilemmas. These historians have studied lots of different topics. Things like the legal origins of the credit card industry in the 20th century, or the cultural foundations of robber baron capitalism after the Civil War, or the relationship between modern accounting practices and the domestic slave trade during the 1830s and 1840s. Despite all of those differences in subject matter, however, the common thread in this new history of capitalism, and the common thread through our course, is the analysis of practices and beliefs and institutions related to economic life, but not exclusively economic in nature, that seem to be timeless, to have taken form not because of human decision making, but because they are somehow natural. To paraphrase a historian of capitalism named Seth Rockman, the job of a historian, and so your job in this course, is to attack any set of practices, beliefs, or institutions that claim to be timeless or universal or normal. The reason we do this is to challenge established ways of thinking. Again, as Seth Rockman has argued, one of the greatest ways to exercise power is to say that the thing you do, the way you act, the practices that you engage in are simply normal, are simply natural. In other words, those who are different than you are irrational or abnormal or even unnatural. I would argue that in the 21st century United States, nothing seems more normal and natural than capitalism. Capitalism as an economic system and as a cultural or political value is the water that we all swim in. Even a decade after the worst economic calamity in the U.S. since the Great Depression, capitalism remains largely unchallenged in American life. And I know that there are politicians out there who criticize capitalism or who criticize capitalism in its current form, but I would argue that those challenges really do represent a minority perspective. So as historical thinkers, this is the perfect topic for us to choose. Clearly, we have our work cut out for us. Our central concerns this semester are going to include how Americans have understood the nature and meaning of labor, the distribution of wealth, the relationship between business and government, and the ways economic power has determined important cultural distinctions, things like race and gender. We will analyze a lot of primary sources created by an array of individuals, from executives, agricultural laborers, to the owners of small businesses or economists. I think there's a country musician in there somewhere, and a president. I don't want you to worry. I know the syllabus looks like we have an enormous reading load, but most of these primary sources are really short. What I'm most concerned about is you encountering many different voices thinking about capitalism. While our topics will include the development of economic institutions and theories and models, we will consider these as fundamentally historical concepts. That is, we want to reflect on how people understood concepts such as contracts or stocks or credit, to what extent their understanding of those things changed over time, and then what forces explain those changes. So if you're not an economist, and I suspect many of you are not, if you've not been trained in business or in accounting, that's okay. In fact, it's not necessary at all. We're going to approach our material historically. Throughout, we will keep our eyes on a few big questions. What was capitalism in this period? To what extent is capitalism a useful descriptor for the economic and political systems that have governed the United States, even as those systems changed over time? What does it mean to study capitalism's history? I have just a few notes about the course. So I've uploaded a fairly long syllabus to Moodle, and I've also emailed this to you all. And that outlines my expectations for course discussions and assignments, but I'll continue to elaborate on those. I've also reviewed my philosophy on grading, which I think is a little bit different than what many of you expect. So review the syllabus carefully. Make sure you note when assignments are due, right? Your success in class is going to depend on meeting deadlines, of which there are many. Take a look at the office hours section. I'm looking forward to scheduled phone conversations with each of you throughout the semester. I'm not in Missoula now, so I don't have normal sort of official office hours, so we're going to have to do it over. And please let me know if you have any questions about anything on the syllabus. I'm excited about it. I'm happy to elaborate on anything. I promise I won't subject you to lots of long videos of me blathering on here in my apartment. But I will post short lectures every other week that will help you contextualize some of our primary source readings, and then remind you of upcoming due dates and other things to keep in mind. So that's our course overview. I have just a few quick notes to keep in mind for the week ahead. One, I hope that you all complete the Moodle tutorial by Wednesday. And I've posted this on the August 27th section of the course Moodle page. It should take you about a half an hour, and at the end you'll get a little graduation certificate as a PDF. Just submit that back to me and you'll get credit. If you've done this before and you still have your certificate, you don't have to do it again. Second, I've emailed you all a copy of the syllabus and an article to read for the week. The article is by a historian named Jürgen Koka. It's called "What Does Capitalism Mean?" Please complete the reading and respond to the discussion questions I included as well. Post those on the forum by Thursday, August 30th. I'm excited to begin, and I hope you all are too.